Yeah, hang on just a second. Yeah. Greetings, all Shardvixen here, and I'm chatting with empty benches. So, what it is you're a rancher on a different planet, and you pick these slimes up, and the slimes poop, and then you sell the poop. I don't know why the poop's popular, but each of the poop, all the poop gives you things. And so I was shooting chickens at these cats that I had because I couldn't figure out what to feed them. They eat meat, and I thought they'd eat the chickens, but apparently they don't eat the chickens, so I have to figure out what to feed the cats. But they eat meat, and then so do the little pink guys. So if you're not careful, they all start bouncing around from one, and then at night they become tar creatures that eat all the other ones. So yeah, so yeah, so it's but that's what it is you've gone to a different planet, and the long-standing history of slime ranching, and then you have to cruise around the planet and solve some of the little puzzles and stories and stuff like that. So it's just like this little cute game. Yeah, so I found Bubble Planet here, guys, and I'm talking to empty benches, which you may or may not be able to hear him. And I'm looking for Kadam to make my mind arc, so I can get on with the story mode. That's silver. That's gold. But I play another game with my son. Well, I started it myself during Christmas time, and it was my friend Pedro, where you have this banana that talks to this guy. The guy never talks to the banana, though. It's interesting. The banana just talks to him. And you're like some weird assassin-like guy, but people are trying to kill you, and you're trying to figure out why they're trying to kill you. And so I got stuck, and it's hard on my hands when I play it, so I have my son help me. But it's funny. It cracks me up. We went to La La Land. Yeah, with the La La Land, it was the banana's home little area, which makes you almost guaranteed that the guy is like, I don't know, he's having a psychotic break or something. But yeah, you have all these... Well, the banana's not trying to kill him. The banana's his friend and is telling him where to go and what to do. And he knows everybody. So it's like it's his subconscious or something. But he ends up in the... we fall through a well, and you end up in La La Land. That's what they called it, La La Land. And all kinds of weird trampoline and bouncing and parkour, all kinds. But it's a cute little game. I mean, it's not very long, I don't think. But, so I have to play some more of that. Well, look, I made a big circle. Wow, that's a big bubble. I went around in a circle looking for cadmium. I may have to go off the planet. It's just this one doesn't have any... It says cadmium is the #1 available resource. I have not found it yet. I only was here because the sentinels don't want to eat me. So that's weird. I'm trying to get more of my games done. Playing Division 1, which is driving me absolutely bonkers. Kind of a hard game by yourself. Definitely a game they wanted you to play with other people, I guess. So that's a rage game. The second one wasn't as hard. It didn't feel like anyway. But I only played it as a free weekend, and I played with Savjaz. There we go, we're going there. It's really far away. Okay. We can walk it. It's past my ship, too. These things are just dribbling. Can I walk through you? I like the bubble planet, though. The bubble planets are pretty relaxing. Oh, that one's brown. Brown and dribbles. I can never walk through the dribbles. Oh, that's a hole and a half. Pippin's playing again. Ow! He's playing permadeath, in which after the first 3 systems he goes to, he will not land on a planet again. And just move through the galaxies in permadeath. He can land on the Nexus, and he can land on the space stations and flying bases and freighters. But he can't land on a planet. It was something he had done before, I think, is what he told me. So he streams in the morning. if you want to see that. A lot of people I know said they're getting bored playing No Man's Sky. And then you have other people that's all they play is No Man's Sky, so I'm not sure how they don't, you know, get bored with it. I'd be at a point where I'd wake up in the morning going, I'm not playing a game. And I'm not playing Ark. I'm gonna put Ark up for a while. I downloaded Atlas on my Xbox. I bought it as a it's a game preview because it's not in any shape or form or ready to actually play game. But it was only $30, and so I think when the game comes out, then I will have it like Subnautica when I bought Subnautica. So I'm playing on it, so I'll see. But you can do cross-play on Atlas, so that's why I got it, because I could play with everybody that has a PC. I thought, okay. I don't know if I'm gonna buy the new map for Ark. At least not at maybe this period of time. Maybe I'll wait for a while. I know I'm gonna buy the Journey to the Savage Planet at the end of the month. Yeah, so I haven't been watching anything about it. There are trailers out now, and there are pre-plays for people. They've sent the game out to, you know, people so they can pre-play it, and reviews and stuff like that. So I saw this really great video for the Outer Worlds. It was a guy who beat the game in 12 minutes in a speed run. Yeah, and but what I like the best about it, and I keep telling people is to watch it, is listen to the devs talk about it. They're like, wait, he just missed a whole bunch of dialogue. You know, I'm thinking, I don't think that was the intent. How do you do that? Well, wait. Yeah. Yeah. And I think that was the best part about it. I mean, they didn't seem overly angry, but they were like, you just missed out on all this, because they spent, and I get it, they spent all this time to create this really interactive game, and then you have some guy in 12 minutes gets it, you know. But what they, you know, I think they kind of figured out, it wasn't really about playing the game, it was just about beating the game, and that's different. I mean, you can beat a game but not play it real well. I've been hitting everything if I possibly can. Oh, I just messed that all up. Son of a. I did. That's because this is here. Oh, I should be doing. I have cadmium. Place for that. Should be okay. Well, now I got silicon powder again. I didn't need it. I didn't need the silicon powder. I found this really weird structure on this other planet. It's a big round donut stone that I've never seen. I've seen some in the water, but I never saw it on the thing. It's really weird. I was like, is that a ring? But it wasn't a ring. You know, the rings that you get on the Uncharted. Made out of stone. And it was perfectly round, too. It was pretty cool. Okay, let's see if I've got... Do I have enough to make that now? Well, I guess I won't know until I get back to my ship. I have to go back to my ship. I haven't made any other bases, just the one. The one base, that's it. Yep. I'm gonna try not to make... I'm gonna try to make one base per galaxy, that's it. Nothing else. We'll see. We'll see how far we get. I'm into making, like, number 31 of videos, so... But yeah, so, because I have some other games. I have everything but the very last Assassin's Creed. I don't have some of the DLCs. I decided I wouldn't pick them up. But I got the Chronicles, which was Russia, India, and China. But then I had to go and look and see where they were in the timeline, not in the actual made, you know, where they were made thing. And, so I'm going to play them. They come out around Unity, I think, is what I decided. I'm gonna be making junk journals. I'm gonna do art vlogs. I think I'm gonna do them when I ramble. Be rambling and art vlogs. And make art and make junk journals that are specialized, like No Man's Sky. Like I was telling you, like No Man's Sky coloring books. I think I'm gonna make what they call junk journals for No Man's Sky, with pictures and ships and little things in there. We'll see. I have to wait and see if I can get the printer hooked up. We have a printer. I don't have it hooked up yet. The printer? Well, it's upstairs, and I have to figure out how to. My son says you can do it. There's a wireless way to do it, so I'm trying to figure out. Now, what's the problem? Glass? Really? Okay, leave me alone. What? Hostile ships? I don't want no freaking hostile. Nope, can't leave. Ah! I've never had a ship where you can't leave. That's weird. I'm not playing with you. Go away. So you can't purchase wiring looms. What do I need wiring looms for? It didn't say that. It said glass. Weird. I know where there's glass though. It's in this. It's actually in this system. So as soon as I can get away from these guys. Yeah. Okay. Just go out here a little ways. Oh, wait. Yeah. I can just mine the silicon powder. I forgot about that. You can just do silicon powder for glass now. I forgot that. I gotta go. Yeah, I should have stayed on that planet I was on then. Well, let's go to where we need to go. We don't need to be here. Let's go to the system I need to be in. It's really weird though, some of the little changes, or lots of changes I guess. There's a lot of changes. And little tiny changes, but they make like big changes. I guess it's like Harry Potter movies. Like there's itty bitty things that they took out of Harry Potter. You know? They didn't change each movie, but in the long run of the story, it changed the story. Yeah. And some of the characters that I liked from those no longer exist. What is that? Why is it not coming up? Yes, I agree that they've really deviated from whatever originally, and I think that is just because of how many people got upset about it. I think that I personally believe that he started out with a story mode. I know, but I think because they think somehow, to me, and I may be wrong, but it's almost like they think that all of us are very superficial in that concept. Like, if you add all this stuff, we'll be happy with it. When in reality, we're probably much more happier with what it was, for the most part, for many of us. A lot of new people who play it are very happy with the game. You know, like, they're like, oh, now it's so much better. And then we're like, oh, no, this was so much better before. You know, it was a whole different game before. And then, but people, like I said, I think they catered to the louder voices of the people who weren't buying the game than to the people who had spent the money and were willing to wait around and see how the game went. It's not as satisfying, and that's why I want to play a vanilla. I want to play it as a vanilla and see if it's just because I've played it for so long that I'm not happy with it, or if because it changed so much that it's just not as enjoyable. I mean, I like playing the game. It's just a different game to me. It's not the same game. It's kind of like Ark. So Ark has a base game, right? You tame dinosaurs. That's the base game. But you can play all the other games, which are each different in their own right. Each map is different in its own right. So each one has a whole different storyline. It has a whole different ending. It has a whole different beast and stuff like that. And so that's what it reminds me of. Instead of them just sticking with the base story and then maybe doing other stuff to it. I don't know. I know a lot of people that really enjoy the building concept in No Man's Sky. I could care less one way or another about building because I don't build. You know, I'm not a builder. Right. I seen this too. Yeah, a lot of people I know said the same thing. That the fact that they put a limit on your base building and then you had to pull your base apart because your base was too big or whatever. And then for me, I built around a lot of portals and they don't always seem to work now when you build on the portals. You have to be careful of that. So you can't build on portals no more. Hang on just a second. I saw another one of them today on the space station. They looked at me like I wasn't there, stared right through, was just a geck when I returned, imagining things. I had to read that. So I was going to read you something that someone shared today, a tweet. Let me see if I can find it. It says, okay, so it was from Procedural Traveler. And it says, this comment on my most recent video is pure gold. We want more I said biodome. It's not biodome. It's the biome biome diversity. And then it says hello games. Here's a multiplayer feature. We want more biome. Here's a base building. We want more cooking. We want music. We bobbleheads. And so that to me that was really good because that's kind of how that feeling is because you kept asking them for one set thing and they kept doing all these other set things. Like somehow they didn't think the biome was important, Right. But for whatever reason though, Hello Games didn't feel that was true. And I don't know if it's just because it's more work that it didn't feel true to them, or if it's because that the people that were saying it to them were people who had already bought the game and not people that they need to buy the game. I mean, I don't know. It just feels like sometimes that they felt like they had to cater to all those other people that got mad at him rather than the people that were here going. That's what I felt like too, but I felt like there were more people happy with the game than there was people that were not happy with the game. But I think that it's like anything else in life. Yeah, and Waking Titan. Look how many people were so interested in Waking Titan, Citizen Division, watching the hamster doing its thing, people looking for the portals. Yeah. And I think that's it. I think that whole community sense is kind of lost somehow. They've lost that someplace. A lot of people have. Well, so I'm part of the role playing. They role play online in the servers, in the Discord servers, and a new one has popped up. that I joined. I don't know if it's going to go anywhere. It's the Knights of the Shattered Void, and the concept is that kind of another. They've done it before and it didn't work, so they were going to do it again. I said, sure, I'll join. I don't think it's going to work, but they're going to try to have a war. Gonna try to have a war properly done in roleplay, not the way that it's been happening. Apparently, every time somebody says there's going to be a war, they got trolls that show up, and they got people that do stuff that are not in role playing. And so this bunch of people want to try it differently. I don't think it's going to work. I told them I don't think it's going to work because of the fact that people get too upset. They say they want to role play something like that, but then they get upset when you do role play it because they die. I mean, if you're not a very good fighter, you're going to die, or if you're not sneaky enough, your character's going to die, and nobody wants to lose their characters. Even though how you should do it is just set up, you know, another save, and that's the character that you play. You know. Right, the Viking and the Gek history. Korvax. Before they blew up the Korvax. Oh, I gotta do this. God dang it. I gotta make... I know that's why I did it. I was like, what am I doing here? I'm looking for my storage unit. That's what I was doing. Because I was gonna put some stuff in my storage unit. I did too. I still, yeah, I still look for it, even though, you know, there's no, yeah. But it would have been great if they had said, okay, you know, we're gonna, there's, the Geks are gonna revolt, or blah, 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 let's go find their homeworld. Or even, you could choose to be a Gek, and that's what you did. You could choose to be a Viking, and you went on a Viking mission. And then you choose... I'd have been interested in synthetic ones. You gotta make glass. We're making glass. Okay. Right. Yeah, I myself, I was thinking I might write a letter to Hello Games and ask them why they abandoned the lore. Like, I know there's lore in the game, but why did they abandon the lore and then, you know, didn't put any places where you could go and look for them? Hell, they could have just put in, like, clues throughout the galaxy for you to go look for the homeworld. They could have put in clues to go find where the I'm gonna get there, where the Sentinels came from, you know. Right. All that stuff that they dropped off after Waking Titan, they could have left things for us to go find out in space that tells us about, because now the way the game feels, I think, is that people don't realize that Well, that, and they don't. The people I talk to, the younger people, don't understand why everybody says they're a simulation. They don't get what the simulation part of it, because it doesn't really explain. Even when you're doing Apollo and Null and Artemis, it doesn't explain why the storyline is supposed to be about you being a traveler. Is not really traveling, but is a simulation in a program. But you don't know that if you didn't do Waking Titan, because now it doesn't bring it up. And that's something that I miss, because that was, for me, that was like, yeah, this is cool. Why are we not doing more of this? Because that's what I thought was going to happen. I thought you were going to get the all past 4, and that was going to open up some rooms. And those rooms were going to tell you how to go find the lore in the story that was going to tell you the rest of the story after the end of Waking Titan. After the Dreamers, what happened after the Dreamers. And we can speculate what happened after the Dreamers. The Dreamers are the ones that are running the storyline, but we don't really know that. And it would be awesome to find out, well, okay, so they're running the storyline, but what happens from where the Dreamers are at to now? What was going on in the background? I mean, they could just even make another game if they wanted to. It could be a DLC and have us pay for it, and it would be all about the lore. And to me, that's what would be exciting. I don't know why they don't go that way, but they're not. And maybe they just haven't thought of it. Maybe no one else has thought of it. Maybe they've been spending so much time trying to make this game into something that everybody wants to be around. They haven't thought about some of the other things you could be doing with it. But I know, a lot of people are like, oh, and that's what I thought they were going to do. Remember when they had everybody, what was that? When they do that? Remember how they had us all put in ideas for games? Like if you were a real game developer and you had an idea, you could send them the real stuff. Or if you had an idea, you could send them the idea. You remember that? And then they sent it off, and some people won, and they featured them and everything. But they never went beyond that. And I was always curious why they asked for it when they didn't do anything with it. Yeah, because that would have been cool too. To then use that concept. Because I sent in one, and my concept was doing being an archaeologist. And you got groups of people together, kind of like in a community event, and you went and did that lore search. Learned about the cultures that came before. Not just the Gek and the Korvax and the Viking, but the travelers themselves before that. Yeah. Right. Yeah, the original Portal people. And the prince, didn't you find stuff about princes too when you were out doing your lore? So, yeah, all those things that were outside of that. And then just like I said, the history of Earth and the future of history. You know what it reminded me of? I was thinking about it today. I did my vlog today on the X-Men comic books. I did Know Thyself, which is about me and my pulp culture, the stuff that has influenced me in life. And I did the X-Men. I started collecting them in 1981. And one of the things it reminds me of is that I started reading X-Men at like I want to say 160 something. I think that's what it was. But there was X-Men before that, and I started reading it right about the time. It was just a little bit after when they had killed off the whole. Well, they didn't kill him off, but they killed off Jean Grey. What it was is the original X-Men team were on the Living Planet, and they got captured there. So then Xavier had to go and make another team to go save the original team, and that's where you get Wolverine, Storm, Nightcrawler, Colossus. You got all these newer people that came in. I started collecting right after they did that, and then they put the two teams together. So you had Cyclops and everything, and the Dark Phoenix and all that stuff. But I was talking about how in the 90s they started switching up the writers. In 2000 they started really switching up the writers, and you'd have storylines that just disappeared. Like you were following the storyline, and then the next time you opened up, it'd be like 10 comic books in the series line, and you're following the storyline, and then all of a sudden this whole new storyline shows up, and nothing is ever said again of that other storyline, ever. It just disappeared. Later on, people went back and kind of wrote stuff about it, like kind of said what happened to them, because they bring the characters back in different places, but they never finished the storyline. An example of that was Rachel Summers leaves with Spyro, who's this 3-armed lady that hung out with Mojo in this other universe where you get Longshot from and Scattershar. And so she leaves, and Dazzler's there too. And she leaves, and you don't see her again in the comic book until they start one called Excalibur, and then she comes back. But nothing's ever said of what went on with her when she was there until way in the future. And then there's like 1 or 2 comic books that talk about it. But you never really get to see her adventures there. You never really get to see what she did or how it changed her, because it was supposed to have changed her. That's what No Man's Sky reminds me of. Like, they had this story going along, and then it's almost like I know they didn't, but it's almost like they put new writers in who said, this doesn't make sense. Let's write something else instead. And so they write this other thing, but they never took out the old stuff. They just left it there, so that you find it, but have no clue why it's there. Because it doesn't really make any sense at that point in time anymore. And you keep finding it, and you keep hoping that somehow that you're going to end up with some answer of why they still have it. And I get, it's really hard to go back through, and it can be very hard to go back through and change things after you have done that. And so I get why they probably haven't, because it's just too much work to do so. But it would make more sense, even if they just wanted to put in a DLC for the rest of us and say, oh, look, here's this. So, but yeah, and that's what reminds me of it. Hang on a second. All right, so I'm going to go now. We have chit-chat. I'll be back. Catch you all on the flip side. I'm out of here. We're going to finish this mine arc, I hope. Peace.